All right. Thank you all for joining us today for another meeting with the International Association of Woodcarvers. Today's Saturday, June 27th, and I think we've got a good meeting today planned for everyone. Just want to remind everybody that we will not be meeting next week, July the 4th. So we will take a week off. We do have something coming up for that day, though, so Tom will explain that a little later. But we'll get back together again on July the 11th. On July the 11th, we're going to have a special guest. We'll have Danny Bolts with us. Danny Bolts is a spoon carver, and she can be found on Instagram. I'm not sure if she has a Facebook page or not. Danny's going to talk to us about the carving hobby and monetizing the carving hobby. She sells spoon kits. She's got a page called Honeysuckle and Mud on Instagram, and her own name, Danny Bolt. So if you want to go out and check her out, she'll be joining us again on the 11th of July. Today, we have a special guest with us. We have Mr. Gene Messer. Gene and I go way back to the days of the Wood Carving Illustrated Forum. That's where he and I originally met up. And Gene does a lot of YouTube videos. Gene's residing now in Texas. He has over 2,400 videos, carving videos on YouTube, and 25.3 thousand subscribers. Anybody who has gone out and looked for carving videos on YouTube have probably run across Gene's carvings and videos out there. So we want to take the opportunity to allow Gene to come in and talk to us about his carving journey, tell us a little bit about carving flat plane and how he got started into making YouTube videos. Just a reminder that you can click in the upper right-hand corner if you're using a computer and go to speaker view so that you can see Gene as he's talking. You can also unmute by clicking on the buttons in the lower corner of your screen, or I think you can use a space bar if you're using a computer. So feel free to ask questions as we go through this or put them in the chat box, and I'll make sure that I communicate those over to Gene. And now, Gene, we'll go ahead and turn it over to you and let us hear a little bit about your carving journey.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm pretty humbled to be with some of the finest carvers around here. I'll tell you what, and because I've always considered myself a whittler all my life, not really what you call a great carver or anything like that. It all goes back, I guess, into the 80s where my wife first got, well, in the early 80s, my first wife got cancer. Breast cancer, and we would go to the MD Anderson Cancer Center and sit there for ages. And so I wanted to find something to do. Well, at a mall, I saw a carving show, and I came back from my dad was a woodworker. So I've been using a bandsaw since I was 13. So I just started kind of whittling a little bit so I could have something to do when we were at the cancer centers all day long. And so that went on, and I just whittled a little bit. Didn't really get into carving all that strong at that time. And of course, everybody knows she passed away 6 years later. And then I had to take care of my boy. He was only 4 at the time. So really, my carving journey, it began there, but it never really got started until the 90s. And she had died in 91. And so I started doing more carving at that time, and probably around 95, 96, somewhere around there. But, my dad was a woodworker. He built boats. He did things like that. And he was so he taught me a lot about wood. But I wasn't really all that interested, as a young man and things like that. And I want to show you something before we get started. My dad used to, let me show you this. My dad used to build these. These are Chinese junk boats. You can see the craftsmanship of this stuff. These are miniature Chinese junk boats. And he built these things. He built probably 20 of these things. But he used to build these things, and so I used to watch him do it. Well, I happened to be going through in a mall one day, and I saw a carving group that was down here, Southeast Texas Wood Carvers, which I'm still a member of. And so I joined them. And that's when I really started doing more carving. Like I said, I've never considered myself a carver. I consider myself a whittler because I just use the knife. And so, you know, a lot of people, just like my videos and everything like that, to me, it was always a form of whittling and not really carving all that much as you possibly say. Well, in the 90s, that's when I joined the Southeast Texas Wood Carvers, and there was a lot of people, probably 60 members at that time. And that's when I got started. But one of the things was I had a job. I worked in a chemical plant, and I don't know if any of you ever worked in a plant, but I was an operator. So whenever I worked in that plant, an operator oversees the unit, and when the unit's running good, you don't have to do nothing but sit there and baby it and do a few things. And of course, when it's running bad. So in the 90s, I just got to, I had a chance on graveyards. I worked shift work all my life, 40 years. I had a chance to actually whittle at work. I could actually carve and whittle at work. And so on graveyards and stuff where everybody else kind of took a nap, well, I was whittling, carving. So I got a lot of practice in at that time. And we were always a little bit scared, you know, supervisor come in one day and caught me doing it. And I thought he was going to chew me out, but he liked it. And so they continued to let me do that at work whenever I wanted to, you know, otherwise doing my job. And next thing I knew, I started making figures for people out there at work and the people in the administration building and people and things like that. So they allowed me to do that. So I was very blessed to have a job where you could actually carve sometimes in your spare time and stuff. So it was nice in that sense. So I got a lot of practice at those times. And so, you know, it's the carving journey that I started especially when I got involved with the club. We had shows like anybody else. We had
I think we've lost Gene.
and whittling and doing all that kind of stuff. And I had a good time. I mean, it was just, I always did it for fun. And I can't even hold a candle to many carvers that are here, but that didn't really bother me. I just enjoyed doing it more than anything in the world. So that was pretty much, I had a little life of my dad doing things, and but I didn't, you know, I didn't know a whole lot about it. Actually, what got me really started was in the 80s. We had hardly any carving videos at all, but I found a video, and I guess I would say he would probably got me started in, by Jack Price, called Carving a Compact Character. And Jack Price, his video was just fantastic. It was amazing. And back then you didn't have anything really. And there was another video I found. Of course, that was all VHS back then, so y'all know what that is. Carving a figure in the round by, I think his name was Roy Alderstein or something. I don't remember his name particular, but I found his VHS too, and it was a great video to watch and learn by. So, but we didn't have any videos back then. And I think that one was put out by I think both those were put out by the National Carvers Museum in Monument, Colorado. So, you know, that was what kind of got started. And then, like I said, in the 90s, my boy was getting older and stuff, I really started carving then a lot, and they let me do it at work. So I enjoyed that. I really did. Now, how the videos came about was actually in about 2007. I didn't make any videos for a long time, and because we had our club, so we had fellowship and things like that. Well, in 2005, Hurricane Rita hit us, and they devastated us. It just tore us to pieces down here. And usually after a hurricane, it'll take years to get back to normal and stuff. Well, our club had a clubhouse in Beaumont, Texas, and it was destroyed. And so it was flooded, destroyed. And so we lost our clubhouse, and a lot of the older guys, they couldn't carve anymore. So we dissembled. I mean, we didn't, we didn't have any more club meetings. So in about 2007, I got kind of lonesome for fellowship with carvers, because I don't know about y'all, but in Texas down here, I mean, carvers are very sparse, as we put it. There's just not that many down here at all. So I just thought, well, I'll do a video or something, but I wanted to just, maybe I could get a little fellowship with carvers. We didn't have all this stuff back here. Y'all got to realize I started out with a Commodore 64 computer, which was a piece of junk back then, as most people realize. But it was dial-up, one of those fine machines. Some of you may remember those. And it'd take you forever to get on, but that was amazing. And so in 2007, I discovered YouTube. Now, I'll show you how dumb I was. I thought YouTube was just the United States. I didn't know it was worldwide or anything like that. And so I discovered YouTube, and then I just finally tried to figure out how to put a video on. Finally, I did. Took a long time for me to figure it out. And so I started doing, my first video was called Whittling a Face, and that was the most terrible thing I ever done in all my entire life. But I didn't know nothing about videos anyway. And not that I say my stuff today is all that great, but it was called Whittling a Face, and I did it. And I uploaded it on YouTube, and I thought, well, that's the most horrible thing I've ever done in all my life. And I said, that's it. I didn't finish it. I didn't even have a part 2 to it. That's how bad it was. And I said, well, that's it. I'm not going to do any more because it was so bad. I was embarrassed. Good thing, a lot of people ask me, why didn't you ever show your face? You always showed your hands. Well, y'all getting to look at my face. Y'all understand why. But so I did it, and I said, well, that's it. Well, all of a sudden, man, I started getting these letters and emails and messages. Oh, we love this. We love this video. I'm thinking, man, who are these people? But they said, well, we like these videos. Would you do some more? And so I thought about it, and I said, I don't know. But anyway, I did do some more, and the next ones were not much better. But people kept saying, look, we love these. We want you to do more. And do more and do started that way. That's how they got started. I was seeking fellowship. Maybe I could find out who other carvers were around the place. I mean, I knew a lot of them, but Mr. Stetson, I've known him. As far as his work and stuff for up 10 years, and just admired his work so much. But I never had, been around too many carvers, because in Texas, we just didn't have that many. But anyway, I just kept making them, And it just got to where when I went to carve something for somebody out at the plant or the administration building, and that was what was funny is we had administration people building, and people wanted carvings, and they called me all the time, and they around the plant and stuff, so all the people would see my little carvings up there, and they loved them. So why, I don't know, but so I was called, Mean Gene the whittling machine out there. So but I mean, I'm thinking, good gracious. But anyway, the videos they just continued, and people kept, every time you do one, people would say, well, we like them, we're going to do some more, would you do more and stuff. And I was terrible with the camera. I wasn't very good. I didn't have great equipment and stuff, so some of my stuff is too dark and stuff. I've learned a little bit over the years, but I mean, I can see that I'm just so pleased with people that are making videos now, that they're good videos. I mean, good quality videos. And there was a time, Blake, I don't remember, but Mark Akers made, I think the carvers got together and making some real good videos by Mark Akers and other people like that. It was a certain group of people, and those were some fine videos. So, but I just kept doing them. When I'd have to do a project, it just come to my mind, and I'd do them anywhere. I didn't edit nothing. That shows you, I mean, it was kind of just, I did them, and it was, if you wanted to watch them, fine, and if not, and how I ever got over 23, I'm up to 2,400 now. I don't know. I just do them because people like them. And so, and I did a lot of, like I said, I all my life, I've never believed I was a good carver. I was just always a decent whittler. And, because I always whittled with a knife. And that's what I like to do. And my carvings can't even hold up to most people, but I'm just saying that was how I actually got started. And that's how I got started in my videos. And, it was just sort of kept doing it. And I made a lot of friends. And like I said, stupid me, since I thought YouTube was only in the United States, well, I started getting letters or messages and emails from people in Italy and Europe and Germany and Australia and stuff like that. And I thought, well, who are these people? Who are these people from? I didn't know touch people everywhere. So I guess that's, if you make enough stuff and new things, people will watch them, and they will do them. Whether I didn't have such great quality, but people are going to watch them. And I just have watched some of, let's see, Eric Owens does them, and Mark Maker does them, and of course Doug, everyone loves Doug's stuff. And so it's just that I can't explain it. I can't explain why people liked them or why they wanted to do them. But I think it was just a period or a time where a lot of people, nobody was doing a whole lot of carving videos at that time on that. Or if you had to get them, you had to buy them. Had a lot of shops that you could buy them at, but free stuff. And most of mine was whittling, so most people, just, it was something simple to do, and all that. I tried to make it as simple as possible, and that's how they all got started. The videos themselves got started, and so it's not an exciting thing. how my life was or anything like that. That's how everything got started, and that's how, that. Now, as far as how I got into flat plane, uh, by the way, I talked about Jack Price. I got started with Jack Price and stuff, and I want to show you something here. This Jack has probably sent these to 1,000 people. Okay, you're a professional little carver, little man carver. I've had it framed and stuff, but I'm gonna tell you something that meant more to me in the world. I think the world of Jack Price. I do, because he just, to me, he got so many people started a long, long time ago. And I know he's old now, but I never got to meet him. That's one thing. I just hold him in such high regard. But how I got started in flat plane is I saw a video, a book of Harley Restful, and I looked at it, and I thought, wow, man, what an amazing carver. Really, that guy is super. And so I started working a little bit trying to carve like him. And I remember I spent a long time with some carvings. Most people haven't seen a lot of those. And I showed a guy one time, and he was a carver, and he said, that looks just like Harley Restful's style of carving. And that was good in a way, but in a way I thought, ooh, I don't want to just imitate him. You don't want to do that. So I kept doing some flat plane work, but when it got to the faces and stuff, when it comes to Scandinavian flat plane carving, John Overby and James Miller is just tremendous at that kind of work. And so my bodies are sort of a flat plane, but when I got to my faces, I wanted to make them rougher and more cruder, because I was lucky enough at one time to see, and I can't even compare to this man, but we have a Stark Museum down here, and they have the full collection of Andy Anderson down here. And they had a display one time, and I had a chance to go see his work, and I was just blown away. I was just blown away by Andy Anderson's work. If you've ever seen it in person, pictures do not do it justice. So I was able to see that, and that impressed me so much and it's crude. It really is. A lot of his work is very crude, would be considered crude today, but to me, it amazed me. So when I got into flat plane, I wanted that crude look, and I wanted that face to look different than the way Scandinavian looks. So actually mine are not really Scandinavian flat plane carving. They're more of a, I had a carver tell me this. He said, yours looks like flat plane on steroids, It just didn't match necessarily, but I wanted to do the faces different, and I didn't want him to look exactly like his. So I just kept experimenting with the knife, kept doing crazy things with it and stuff. And then I got into the hobo carving, and I love hobos. I've been carving them for 15, 20 years, and I just wanted them to look rough. I wanted them to look crude and rough and things like that. And so I just kept practicing, and I don't know why anybody likes my stuff, but I don't in a lot of ways, but some people like it. So, it is as we go. But so I just kept working with a knife. And what's strange is with my videos, I never intended my videos to be anything but a starting point for people. Never. Because I started 25 years ago with a knife, and I still carve with just a knife, basically. So most carvers don't do that. They'll go on, and that's where my videos, I think, were a starting point for people. And that's pleased me more than anything in the world. It's just a starting point. And then they can go on to greater carvers and learning more techniques and stuff like that. Because and that's what most people told me. You got me started, and that's more pleasurable than anything in the world, because that was the whole thing more than anything. But so, you know, it's not an exciting life of carving, but finally, believe it or not, our club just got back together 3 years ago. It's been that long. It was since 2005 when Rita hit. Our club has just gotten back, and now we only have about 10 people. But the devastation, like I said, down here has been pretty rough on everybody and stuff. And maybe one day I'll get up in Tennessee or Kentucky where my son lives, and I won't have that. I won't have all this craziness down here with your house being taken away about every 2 or 3 years, or that dam is done or whatever. So, you know, it's been a journey, but it's been a good journey, and praise God, it's been he's given me the strength to carve and have friends and watch other wonderful carvers and stuff. And but you know, somebody asked me one time why you carve like that, and I just said, well, how'd you like to go to a carving show and everybody carve the same way? That'd be pretty boring, wouldn't it? It would be. And I've been to quite a few carving shows, but it would be boring. Everybody carved the same way. So, I mean, it's not a whole lot more to it, but I mean, I can open up for questions or whatever, and maybe some of you are interested in making videos or whatever. I hope you do a whole lot better than me, but you know, I can open it up for questions or whatever, and that's up to you, Blake.
Now let me go ahead and get it started. Gene, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Okay. Well, I'll keep talking. I was going to open it up for questions or whatever. Can you hear me? All right.
Hey, Gene.
And all that
Anybody
stuff.
else hear me?
Okay. So,
I hear you, Blake.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Blake?
No.
Anyway, we'll see what goes from there. But you know, it's been I've been able to meet some carvers and things like that have been good to me. But I'm just saying that I've enjoyed. Yeah. Okay. I can hear you. Okay. Can you hear me, Blake?
I can hear you, Gene. Can you hear?
Anyway,
I don't think it's working.
yeah. Do you want to open? You want to open for questions or anything like that? Okay, we just get started. All right. See what time it is. Anyway, I thought we had gotten started anyway. Okay. Does anybody want to ask any questions? I'm sorry. Does anybody want to ask any questions? Yeah, I'm trying to say, you're not hearing me? Oh, brother. Anyway, I'm
So I'm going to ask him to sign out and try to sign back in. I apologize for the inconvenience here with the low bandwidth problem. He said he was having some storms and stuff down there, I think, or rain. So that's probably part of the problem. Tom, do you want to go ahead and talk about what we're going to do on 4th of July?
Okay, all right, everybody. I'm not sure if you know, we just hit 500 followers on the Instagram page, which is pretty incredible. So as we did that, Blake and I have decided we're going to give away one of our shirts. There is a post on our Instagram page if you're interested. It's pretty simple. All you got to do is follow us and then tag in the comments a friend who you think should join our meetings. It's all about growth for us, anyways. So that's it. There's 2 steps. And on July 3rd is the deadline for entries. And then July 4th, Blake and I will get back on here, even though we're not having a meeting. Blake and I will come back on here on July 4th and do the draw so that you guys have something to see on the 4th, even though it'll be a holiday.
So do you want to do that live, do the drawing live, Tom? On the 4th?
I think you and I can just do a little video and then we'll post it up there that way because people are going to be busy, right?
Right. So one of the questions, somebody asked what Gene's YouTube channel is.
Okay, did y'all lose me? Is that what happened?
Yeah, can you hear us, Gene?
I hear you. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's all right. I was just telling everybody your YouTube channel, if you just go to YouTube and search Gene Messer, you'll be able to see his page out there. And again, he's got 2,400 videos out there.
Did you hear me, Paul? Is it Blake?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, did you hear me for a while?
Yeah, well, I mean, we heard the presentation. We just
okay.
We weren't able.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Let me ask a question, Gene. You've done 2,400 videos. What do you do with all the carvings? I can imagine that's a bunch of carvings. Do you have somewhere
they're being given away mostly, and I don't sell anything. I mean, the Lord's blessed me with a good job. I'm retired now, so I didn't sell a lot of stuff. I gave most of them away, and I still have a few, but I sold. My daughter-in-law had a little shop, and I gave some to that and stuff. But they're mostly in homes. There's probably thousands of them in homes and stuff like that. And like I said, when I used to carve for the plant out there, and I probably carved 500-600 carvings out there for people in the plant. And on my years out there, that was kind of the deal I made with them. You let me carve, and on my spare time, I'll do things for them in the plant and stuff. So that's a lot of people still have. In fact, the guy sent me a thing the other day that had several of my carvings. We had them all in the control room and stuff like that, and they have them up at central control, and so they're still there. So
I'll show you this one, Gene. I don't know if you remember that. You remember?
Well, that's old. Yeah, that's an old one. I tell you what, that's old stuff. There, it's I don't even know where all of them are. I really don't. And I didn't number them or nothing. So I'm very unorthodox when it comes to a lot of things. Some of them, I didn't even, people had to come get me to sign them because I just carved and loved it. I just whittled and loved it. That's what I say. So yeah, they ended up in the hands of most people, family, stuff like that. And I still do it. I don't know why, I just do it. It's just because I love to do it. And that's been the whole thing all. And I've sent some out through the mail to people and stuff. So that's, and since I carve miniatures a lot, like I said, Jack's the one that they got me into miniatures. Jack Price did it. So those were a lot of fun. They were, I mean, that guy there, he's to me the grandfather of miniature carving. So he was just amazing stuff.
Gene, can you hear me?
Any more questions? You want me to
John,
just?
ask again.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
How can we get one of your cars?
Yes. You what? Send me your mailing address. Pretty simple, huh? Send me your mailing address. That's what I do. I mean, if somebody wants one of the pieces, because I'm not, I sit down and I can carve one of the little people or something like that in about 30, 40 minutes, and then the painting and stuff. So this is my latest. This is the little guy. He's a little tiny guy, kind of half inch by 3 inch wood, stuff like that. And I just love these little tiny people and all that. But just send me, on email, or send it on Facebook, and I'll send you one. I've done it galore. If you like my car enough to want one, I'll send you one. I mean, I don't know why, but
I'd love to have one.
I'll be glad to send you one for sure. But yeah, I have to be on a laptop because I don't know enough about iPhones to. How dumb I am when it comes to computers. Well, just send me on Facebook. Just send me your address and message me, and I'll send you one.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's how I do it. So all that. Blake, we go back so far.
Did we lose him again?
Yeah, I think we did.
lost Gene again.
But he is good. That guy is sharp. He's good with his stuff. So if you like flat plane carving, he's really good. And so is John. So it's been just amazing, some of these carvers that are coming up right now. But we just didn't have much back in the 80s and 90s and stuff. We really didn't. Or I didn't know about it. They didn't. And now my favorite place, Smoky Mountain Wood Carvers, closed down. Mac and all them. Well, I don't get to stop too many places. I stop at Gene's. Gene's a good friend of mine, Gene Webb and stuff. But, that's just it. Any more questions? Well, you want me to keep talking?
No, Gene, I think we'll go ahead and stop there. We're still experiencing some technical difficulties as far as bandwidth goes. So we just want to thank you, Gene, for joining us and presenting.
The carving journey has been just wonderful. I tell you what, with all the devastation we've had down here that we've been through, I don't know what. Carving brought me so much pleasure. Whittling brought me so much pleasure. And I'm going to tell you something. Anybody that wants to make a video or anything like that, man, make one, please. Because people like them. They really do. They like video. Look at Doug. Doug started off with bushcraft, but he went into carving. Doug, man, he's skyrocketing with his stuff. It's just wonderful. It really is. So, if you want to make a video, just make it and be yourself. It's pretty neat in that sense to just do it enjoy yourself, and we're having more people do it, and so it's just great. It really is. And I know Dave is teaching online, which is fantastic. Now that you can teach online and stuff, I mean, it's amazing what they can do with computers now. I never believed that we'd ever come to this point where you could teach a class online and everybody could see you and stuff like that. That blows my mind. What they can do now, it really does for that. So, but is there any other questions?
I think that's it, Gene. We'll go ahead and stop there.
I don't know if anybody else has any questions. Not Blake. I see
If anybody doesn't have anything else for Gene, does anybody have any other questions?
But
hey, Gene, this is Joe. I was curious. Do you like doing people, or do you have a favorite caricature you like, or is it like animals, or do you just do the whole gamut?
somebody asking me a question? Well, I told you, I warned you about me. Anyway, does anybody else have a question?
Gene, can you hear me?
I think we're having some lag, Bob.
Yeah, I just was going to ask him the question that the other gentleman asked.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've gone ahead and lost him. We apologize again, like I was saying earlier, for the bandwidth issue. He's experiencing some storms and stuff down that way, so I'm sure that's part of it. We tested this a few times, didn't have any problems before today, so I'm not sure what the problem is. But we once again we'll meet on July the 11th. We'll meet next week to do the drawing, and then we'll meet again on July the 11th with Danny Boltz. It's DaniBoltz if you want to go out on Instagram and look her up. She'll be talking about monetizing carving. I know it's very difficult for people to make a living off of wood carving, but if you're interested in selling things or selling carvings, maybe a good opportunity to tune in and see how somebody does it professionally. Again, she does a podcast, and she has another Instagram page called Honeysuckle and Mud. And then we're trying to line up a few other carvers after that. We've talked to a few people, so I'll be announcing that later, and we'll also probably post that on Instagram and Facebook. So keep an eye out for that as far as who's going to be coming up. And again, just let us know if you have somebody in mind that you'd like to present. We're open to suggestions, and we'll definitely reach out to those people and see if they're interested to come on. We just want to share the information. And again, we're doing this because clubs are not meeting, and we're not having classes anymore and things like that. So this is a good opportunity for us to get on and kind of talk about carving. And again, it don't always have to be a formal presentation. It can be just an open discussion if you all want to do that. We just need to make sure we keep it going because we are recording these and putting them out on the internet. So if y'all want to have a discussion or just ask general questions with the people that's on the discussion, we can do that as well. So does anybody have anything else that you want to talk about or anything you want to say to the group?
Hey, Blake.
Hey.
Hey, I got a question. I was out in South Dakota, Custer, South Dakota, a couple years ago.
Sure.
And I was at a carving museum out there, and I cannot think of the name of the museum. Do you think maybe somebody out there would know that name or had been there?
Mr. Stetson, do you have any idea what he's talking about?
He's probably talking about the National Museum of Wood Carving in Custer. It no longer is there. It was sold about 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, that was a really cool place, and I could not remember the name of it. So, well, thank you. Appreciate that.
I have a question, please.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the next meeting. I would love to. This is my first time here, and this is very enjoyable and awesome to see some of the familiar faces live that I see on Facebook. So that's great. So is this going to be recorded next week, the meeting?
Yeah, we'll continue to record all of them. That's our goal, is not only just to have a live meeting, but also to put it out on YouTube as well as Facebook, so that you can go back and review those or see them if you haven't seen them the first time live. Really just to share to the carving community. So that's our goal in all of this. So everything ongoing will be recorded and posted after the meeting.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, do you hear me again, Blake?
Yeah, Gene, I hear you.
Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I'm just losing y'all or something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
But,
you got low bandwidth. It's dropping you for some reason.
I don't understand that, but I guess everything I got's cheap. But no, it's Spectrum. I don't know why I'm losing it in such a way. But maybe my brother's down on the computer or something like that. And I'm getting low or whatever. Well, does anybody have any more questions? I just
Bob, did you have something for Gene?
No, I just, where am I? No, I just wanted to ask the question that someone else asked, in case Gene could hear me and not him. Someone asked the question, do you have any particular type of character that you like to carve?
I have to say that hobos, I don't know what, I got fascinated with hobos when I went to a museum in Jackson, Mississippi, and it was a Casey Jones Museum or something like that. And I love to carve hobos. I just do. I don't know why. I love to, I read about them. I studied about them. And I studied the Civil War for years too, but I don't carve a lot of Civil War. But I don't know, I just became fascinated with the life of those people that they, when, people during the Depression. And I didn't live during the Depression, of course, but I mean, my dad did. And so I don't know, I just became fascinated with them. And I love carving them. I love I've carved the hobo camp and all that other stuff. And I don't know why. I became just fascinated with them, and I love carving them, and I guess that's the character of that I love more than anything, because and I like that rough character, and I had a chance to see some of Axel Peterson stuff and its crudeness, and oh man, it floored me. These older carvers, they didn't have much to carve with, like Andy Anderson. They did some of the most amazing stuff you ever saw, and it was just like I said, until you see Andy's stuff, it's great. But I love to carve hobos. I do. I don't know why. They fascinate me. The time did. The Depression and that particular time. My dad lived through all that stuff, and so that would be mine. By the way, I love your carvings, Bob.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hey, Gene.
Yes.
Hey, Stetson. Listen, Jack Price, you mentioned him a number of times. He would. He's well. He's hanging in there.
Wow.
He's been a friend of mine for close to 40 years now. But Jack would be very, very pleased that you thinking of him and mentioning him.
Well, he was just, I don't know, just watching his video and everything like that, you can tell. I mean, he went through every step the way that it should have been done. It's an amazing video, and you could just tell he was just a very laid back person, and he just wanted to teach people. And I loved his little people. I loved them. I mean, to me, I know that a lot of people don't like to get into miniature stuff and things, but to me, he was just amazing to me. So, I mean, I have such high regard for this man.
Gene, Doug Linker here.
Hey, Doug. How you doing, buddy?
Good. I know you heard the story 100 times, but I just wanted to thank you for that random video that popped up in my YouTube feed, and you're my hero. You're my Jack Price. So
No,
love that you put such a legacy of videos out there right now.
Well, you got to realize, you realize that what you learned, I learned.
If I'm ever down your way, I owe you.
It sounds great. That's why I say the wonderful thing is I learned from somebody, and then maybe you learn from me or whatever.
Right.
Started, and Jack was my start. He was the guy that started me. So it's just amazing. And he was just if you couldn't learn from Jack Price, you can't learn. This guy was just great.
Yeah.
And I wish I'd been able to meet him and been friends with him. He was just, I can imagine he was just great guy.
Thanks for what you do. It's great.
Oh, a little bit jealous of you, Doug, because you're doing better carvings than I am. So when you see people doing better carvings than you, well, pretty good. Can you still hear me, Blake?
Yeah, I got you, Gene. Anybody else have any other questions for Gene?
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, Doug. Kind of losing him a little bit. Kind of like me.
Yeah, his internet's lagging also, I think.
Yeah. I'm sorry, mine is. I should have been probably downstairs. The router's downstairs, so that may be lagging a little bit in that sense.
Well, I just want to say I'll go ahead and say that we'll stop at this point. Want to thank you again, Gene, for coming on and presenting for us. I can speak for everyone in saying that I think everybody enjoys what you do. You've been doing it for a long time. A lot of us that are on here probably started out watching your videos. And you've been a huge inspiration for all of us. So I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for the friendship. Anybody that knows you knows you're a genuine person. So thank you for all that you do for the carving community. Again, there's a lot of people that probably wouldn't have started if they hadn't watched your videos. So thanks for that and continue to put those out there.
Well, thank you, Blake. I appreciate that. And I'm sorry my video was lagging and all this stuff. It's I'm sorry about that. I wish I was a little bit more smart in handling that kind of stuff. But
no, it's fine, Gene. We got good
Gene,
quality
that's
content.
okay.
Thanks,
Tune
Gene.
Good to see
Tune
you.
in next week for the drawing and tune in on the 11th for Danny Bolts. And if we don't have anything else as a group, we'll go ahead and sign off for now, and we'll meet up again on the 11th.